Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the one true God, and Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. And I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and I want to send salutations to all the Akim throughout the four corners of the earth, exalting the name of Yahweh and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, in truth and in sincerity. All right. So this lesson is going to be about this article that I saw on the internet, and immediately it made me think about the curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter that was put upon Israel. And, I see this woman in the photo and her son. You can see that it says Mississippi police officer responds to fatal shooting, discovers victim is her son. And I thought to myself how extremely saddened and awful it is to discover something like that. Like, to have a child, and then next thing you know, you get a call as a police officer, fatal shooting at this area, be at this area immediately, and then you show up to the area. You're not even thinking that it's going to be your own child, but then you show up there and it's your son in the middle of the street, dead, with a bullet in his brain and blood and brain and whatever else is on the pavement. That type of, that had to be extremely awful to experience as a parent, And, these are Israelites. These are our people. And it says right here that a Mississippi police officer responded to a shooting incident over the weekend. Little did she know she was about to walk into her worst nightmare. Officer Wakanda Cooley discovered that the victim was her own son. She was one of the responding officers arriving on the scene of a shooting just blocks away from Hazelhurst Police Department earlier Sunday morning. We intentionally responded to the call, not knowing when I made it over there, the person was going to be my own son that was laying there, Cooley, 42, told WBLT. Her 20-year-old son, Charles Stewart Jr., was lying in the middle of the road suffering a fatal gunshot wound to the head. He had already been declared dead before Cooley arrived. As we get out, I looked and I was like, that is my son. This is my son. She said, so I literally just go into a breakdown, like why? Who would do this to my son? The victim's father, Charles Stewart, described his son as a good person who didn't bother anybody. He said Stewart got along with everybody. He couldn't believe his son was murdered. To read the rest, log on to Baller Alert. So yeah, man, but the scriptures tell you in the book of Job, whoever perished being innocent, nobody has. And this boy got murdered, got put to death by somebody for whatever reason. Who knows? I don't know this kid. According to his parents, he was a good kid. He had no issues with nobody, but at the end of the day, somebody wanted to smoke him. And that's just what it was. But this is just a part of the curses, man, that our people deal with all the time. And two in particular. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And that's pretty much the whole so-called black community, man. And also other communities that are in the Israelite community also, that are part of the 12 tribes of Israel, But this is definitely, in a description of the so-called black community. We look at each other with evil intentions. Men are no longer truly the centerpiece of the family structure in the so-called black community. All right, and because of depression, drug addiction, and et cetera, they leave the home. You always got a story about some successful so-called black dude who always gives praise to his mother because his father left, man. It's always something, but this stuff plagues our community, our so-called community. All right, and your eye evil towards your brother, all that wickedness that you do. They're like wild bulls in a net. They hang out on every corner, like it tell you in the book of Isaiah. So our people are just wicked towards each other. All right, but that's just the way the curses are. This is also a part of the curses. Deuteronomy 28:66. It says, "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life." And that's just how we've always been. No insurance of your life, no matter how much money. Like that song that Trick Daddy had called America. Saying you can, he was making the other rapper that was featured on the song, he was basically saying you can have $1 million contract, still a nigga. Ride in a nice Benz, still a nigga. Have a nice home, still a nigga. That's just the way the world looks at you. You still just a nigga. You still just nothing. You know what I mean? But your life don't mean anything, no matter how much you add to it. In this society, you just looked upon as a nigga. All right? And your own people try to kill you all the time, and you got your adversary that's always trying to kill you all the time. So you just a target. It's a target on your back 24/7, man. But our people are wicked towards each other. But these curses are going to turn to our enemies eventually. But these curses are still upon us to this very day. So with that, all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai.